come in, he said, call me. And then me phone, me call. Call them to me, so then kill me, pa. But now me mouth at house there, me nah go up there. So same time the girl run come in and said to me, say, Mama, then kill mommy and daddy. Me hear one boom, boom, boom. Like somebody knock. Sitting here with me. But two me can't move. Me sit down and they listen. I mean, I hear no knocking again. Me say to myself, say, I wash in and call it up there and knock. If God spare me life a morning, me have to ask them how they knock. I mean, I hear nothing more. No, there is nothing so too. When the boy me a go to sleep, hear this I do the knock. And me sit down and listen so too. Me say how they knock. And he say I could be a kill boy and he go up my door. And when he open my door, me see him come in. And when he come in, he say, call me. And then me phone and me call. Call them to me, so then kill me, pa. But now me mouth at house there, me nah go up there. So same time the girl run come in and said to me, say, Mama, then kill mommy and daddy. And so she cry. Same time say, me wanna come help me out, then kill me pan in mouth there, me nah go up there. So you come, everybody come. So me say to him, say, call police and call him and when they work with and call everybody, make them come see what happen. And then he do it and he call, so till he go out a door. So, me no hear nothing more. So till now, me hear me say, they didn't say around me, so Cordel dead. But she not dead in the house. And two more somebody went up on the veranda. So it look like when they going and see the two somebody then shot them. And going and she not run. They going and they pick in them room. So I ain't they no shot him. You know, hear nothing more. You know, trouble somebody. Find my baby, find my picnic. You never cry. In this grow up since so. And you know, one another nephew, when man him go together. And him give me name buyer. And from all the things say no, he say Cordel. He say no a buyer. And find that I buy a fast upon him. And everywhere him go a buyer. But in a trouble smarty. Cause him go to school and him come in. You never hear no complaint coming about him. You never hear no fighting or nothing. Him come in as easy as ever. And if you trouble him, and he knows say you trouble him, all him do is say, Mama, me hear say, this and such say about me. But me can go along. In our business, now make no contention or nothing. The only nice you hear him make, I pick them in the house. When them bother me, they cuss too bad. I never cuss before me or nothing. But since they get big and everybody, they up and down, they ain't cuss on the bad word. And who to them, but other than that, you know, trouble smelly. No business over happening, no trouble smelly.
This quadruple murder is stemming from a double murder which occurred in 2017. In that incident in November 2017, one of the deceased in this matter was identified as one of the shooter in that double murder, where a 25-year-old lady was shot and killed and her 8-year-old son. In that incident as well, we had 4 other persons who were shot and injured, age 14, 17, 23, and 8. The suspect in that case, who is now deceased here, was arrested, but investigators had difficulties preferring charges against him because of identification purposes. But what we have here is another theory that investigators are following, where one of the deceased is a scammer, and there is also a conflict between him and persons from Kinloss. And as you know, this incident occurred in Duanvale. A report was made against him by the boyfriend of the female that was killed back in 2017. That was Janelle. Police followed up on that threat, do what was necessary, and in fact, he was taken in custody during that incident. But what we have here is that there was insufficient evidence that police could charge him for, and so he had to be released by then. He's Akeem Robinson. We know that he is 27-year-old. His girlfriend was also killed in this incident. Back in the incident in 2017, the lady that was killed then was like how he was visiting his relative here. Back in 2017, the lady that was killed with her son, she was also visiting her spouse, and incidentally, investigators unearthed that the spouse that she was visiting at the time was in conflict with Akeem, same Akeem who was killed here. So there are some good leads that investigators are following. Incidentally, it must be noted that during the 2017 attack, there was a male from Spanish Town who escaped in that incident. And so, again, that is an investigative note that investigators will also be following up to see if that person has anything to do with this current crime. But again, the investigators are experienced, they know what they're looking for. There's forensic evidence that will be brought to bear on investigation, and we're confident that there's some positive results that will come from what they're doing. We can't say much with regards to the persons who are involved. Investigation is at an extremely infancy stage, but the investigators are combing the scene. They have been able to uplift pertinent evidence so far. We will be relying on scientific evidence to advance the investigation to some extent. There were other persons who were in the house at the time when these four persons were shot and killed. We're thankful that they're all alive. They were all kids, ages between 3 and 9. They were unharmed. And so investigators have good grounds to advance this investigation. And we just want to give the assurance that they'll pull out all stop in coming to a conclusion where persons responsible will be arrested and charged.
I learned of this last night rather, but at the hours where I couldn't respond immediately, so I decided to visit here my first stop. So another demonstration, in my view, of the pervasive murders that has plagued this country without any apparent solution in sight. And it's not just the killings, it is a serious and heinous nature of these killings. We're talking about almost in 3 weeks in succession. 3 weeks ago, you have a triple murder. Last week, you have a quadruple murder. And this morning, last evening, another quadruple murder. And that to me demonstrates that these killers operating in an environment of impunity and without fear for law and order. Duanvale is a decent community, very tranquil rural community. People, hardworking people, farmers, you name it. This is new to them in terms of this tragedy and this heinous act. I am using this opportunity to call on to the public, the members of this community who's privy to what is happening, have information, make those information available to the police, because police with all the capacity and all the will, if they don't have information, they can't solve crime. Another issue I want to raise, that the issue of the much promised enhanced security measures in terms of legislation that was promised by this government, yet to be realized. In fact, only recently the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce or that crime management committee raised the concern of the tardiness on the part of government to implement and to legislate this much promised enhanced security measures, because to treat with these kind of killings needs special security measures, and is not state of emergency. It needs legislative measures that sends a signal to those who are so minded to kill with impunity to take a second guess, and it's not states of emergency. I'm not a proponent of hanging, because with a flawed justice system, you can hang the wrong man. Don't get me wrong, if there's a clear demonstration that John Brown is a killer, right? Do so. But I'm not a subscriber to the notion that you can't be against killing and then your state sanction it by your own act. right? But I believe that what is needed is serious. And let me just make the point. You can't hang somebody if you don't catch them. You have to first catch them. So yes, much has been improved in the capacity of the JCF to investigate and to bear fruit from that. But in the main, you still need to catch these criminals, right? But I more want to look at the whole issue of crime prevention than crime fighting. Our policies must be, in my view, move more towards preventing these acts, this heinous act of murders, right? And you can only achieve that through legislative measures. And I think full time has come now for the government to act in this regard and put flesh to their own promises and words in terms of the enhanced security measures. But this is very much tragic. Beautiful family, very tranquil, very law abiding citizens. This is the result. Something has to give.